ahead, you do it. Okay. Today is Wednesday, October 14th, 2020, at 6:30 p.m. I call this meeting to order and verify the form of meeting present that this meeting has been duly called and notice of this meeting must be in accordance with the section of the Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. This time I'd ask you to please rise, led by the board member, Mark Ayers, followed by the clerk. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing upon the district as you blessed it in the past, also for the individuals here, the students, faculty, everyone associated with it. We pray, Father, that you also make us cognizant of the things that are going around us in the world, that we may take and be instruments of your divine will. We pray, Father, that you will guide our thoughts, our steps, our actions, the things that we do this evening, that they may be for your glory and your honor. And also that we may take and serve our fellow men. We pray and ask these things in your holy name. Amen. That brings us to our recognitions, and we have Mr. Truitt ready to go.
We do. It's great to see everyone. We're trying something new with our live stream, so we hope everybody can hear and the picture's okay. We had a camera go down just about 30 minutes ago, so we're using my laptop, and I hope everybody that's tuning in can see and hear us okay. So that's part of the meeting. Time for recognition. Some of the folks out there in the audience and in YouTube land know that we didn't get to have our annual end of the year retirement celebration because of COVID-19, unfortunately. But of course, that didn't dampen our spirits or Debbie's spirits. And she's thrilled to be here tonight because we decided to honor some of our retirees at different board meetings here at the beginning of the school year. And we're honored tonight to have Debbie Bobchek and her family here so that we can say, we love you, we appreciate all you've done for the school district, you are a true legacy when it comes to West ISD and to your commitment to the kids and staff, particularly at West Elementary School. And I've asked Mrs. Cosda, and actually we have two of your former principals here with Ms. Scott and Ms. Cosda. But Ms. Cosda has some things that she'd like to say about you, but you've got to come up and sit in the honorary rocking chair. You're receive credit.
Okay, if you know Debbie, she does not like attention at all. So she's like, are we really doing this? So she knew last year, I'm not going to be offended about the fact that it was 2 weeks after I got there that she let me know she was going to retire at the end of the year. And it was planned. Okay, so it was planned. And over the summer, we didn't get to, of course, have the retirement celebrations we wanted to. And right before school started, we thought, hey, let's go ahead and do it at one of our meetings that we have on our campus. And I called Candace, and Candace said, oh, she's already on vacation. So she was already on her retirement vacation. Yeah. And been on several trips.
She went to Florida.
To see Candace already, and so we just appreciate the years and years of service she put in on our campus. She was one of the first people I met whenever I got there, and whenever I got there, I was told that she was the fairy godmother of West Elementary School, and she really was. If anybody ever needed anything, she had it. If it was on her purse or her desk, or if she needed to call and get it, she would. And she just took care of everybody and loved everyone and had patience with all of us. And we're going to miss her, but she's still in on our campus, so we're still going to get to see her.
Well, wow, this is exciting. I'm happy for Debbie. We go way back. We started at West Intermediate School together. She was the dean's clerk there, and her sister, Michelle Wolf, was the secretary. So I had quite the crew. It was a great team. And then I'll never forget when I was asked to move to West Elementary. I was like, I have to take Debbie, Coffee Chick, and Sandra Kettler with me. And so that was the deal. And they were like, sure. So Debbie and I go back many years. She's a great friend, and I just wish her the best on her next chapter of retirement. So we love you, Debbie.
Debbie, I think what I love most about you is your general spirit. It doesn't matter what's going on in the office. You're so calm and you're always smiling. You just always take care of everybody. It's infectious, and you're a great miss, but we are so excited for your family and getting to do these trips. I know it's a rocking chair, but it represents our love, and hopefully some rest and relaxation was the thought there. It has nothing to do with age or rocking, has everything to do with being good. It has everything to do with on the front porch with coffee and enjoying your time at home with your loved ones. But introduce me.
It's my husband, James, and my daughter, Candace.
Yes. Thank you for being here tonight, James. You can always get to see Candace. I am Candace's favorite all-time teacher, so when I see her, it's right, Candace? All right, yay! So it's always good to see Candace as well. Congratulations, and James, we'll get the rocker at your house. We obviously know where y'all live. We don't want you to carry downstairs, but can we do a picture? Is that okay? Y'all come on up, James and Candace, and if you're bored, you don't mind, come over and get our masks on. So we can.
Okay.
Don't have to smile.
1, 2, 3. I guess you don't need that countdown. Okay.
Thanks for coming, guys. Thank you very much.
That brings us to agenda item number 5, Claudia Taylor, this is ISD, therefore we'll go to consent agenda, which is item number 6. You had an opportunity to look over the consent agenda and those questions. If there are none, of course, a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. So, make a motion. I'll second the motion to accept the consent agenda. All in favor of accepting the consent agenda, please show of very nice. All right, that brings us to agenda item number 7, which is the administrative report. Mr. Stewart.
All right, before we get started, have we done a sound check? Is it going okay?
A little low, they said.
Is mine okay? So it's really probably.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, and if we use the podium mic, we should be okay. Board members, before I move to 7, maybe this can get my PowerPoint ready. I just want to make sure under that action item, if y'all had any questions, there were 2 items that were normally in our consent agenda. One is the resolution, I wanted to make sure you saw that out at your desk, for the use of unassigned fund balance for the land purchase and the Chromebooks. And then I asked, Ms. Mossick to give us an update on the loan, that we talked about last month. And then instead, we're going to use this resolution for that as well. So I just wanted to let you know, we talked to BBVA and we're moving forward with our plan of use of local funds. All right, so this resolution is a recommendation from our auditors to have on file that we approved it, so it takes Dr. Sparks' partial signature. So it's just something we'll have on file. It's ceremonial, but it's something we have to take the trail for. All right, administrative and campus reports. In your booklets, obviously you've seen by now all the reports that our principals and department heads submitted. I did pull one item because I wanted Mrs. Scott to share about our MCC plan with the district supporting the dual credit movements at the high school. So she's going to come up and just share some numbers and information about how it's going. This fall semester is the first time we've been able to do this for our kids. So come on up, Ms. Scott. I appreciate you being here. And Ms. Scott's going to have to leave right after this for church stuff. So just want to make sure y'all didn't wonder she's slipping out. So thanks for being here, Michelle.
Yes. Okay, so just an update, the next slide. So looking at fall 2020, of course, the dual credit classes started before we started here at West ISD. They started on August 24th. And we have 84 total students in the dual credit classes as of now, comprised of juniors and seniors. There are 30 seniors that are enrolled at right now in English 1301, and then the plan is for them to continue in the spring of 1302. And then there are 33 juniors taking History 1301 currently, and all of those have requested History 1302 for the spring semester. And School Board, Mr. Truitt, I just want to thank you so much for supporting funding these courses, the English for the seniors, the history for the juniors, because this is the first time in West ISD. So we are super excited. I know when I emailed blast out to parents earlier this school year, I had several email me back and say, thank you so much. We were so blessed that you guys are doing this for our students. So I hope it's something we can continue in the future. So thank you again for your support. The last class day of the fall semester is Friday, December 4th, and finals are scheduled for December 7th through 10th for the fall semester. Then looking forward to the spring 2021 semester. So I guess that was last Monday. It seems like forever ago, but Monday, October 5th, we had dual credit advising for the spring semester via Zoom. And so it was pretty cool. The MCC advisors, there were 3 of them. We had laptops set up in the library upstairs, and students connected. They came in at a schedule and just kept them rolling. It was about 10 minutes or so per student, and they were advised by one of the MCC advisors based on what degree, what major, what school they were looking to go to after high school. And so the way the advising works, not all students were advised. The requirement to be advised if the students meet or exceed 15 credit hours, and that includes classes that are requesting for the spring semester, and then if anyone is taking a dual credit math class, they have to be advised. So we had over 60 students advised that Monday, October 5th. Students are now requesting their classes online via the MCC High School Pathways Enrollment Portal, and that's the website, gateway.mcclellan.edu. They have a secure login, they go in and actually submit their schedule requests for the spring. So they're doing that now. And then the next step is for me to go in and look at those requested courses and make sure it's correct, and then to go in and approve those so that they will actually enroll in those courses. And then the spring semester will start on Monday, January 11th. So I think it's 4 days after a week from back to school, but that's kind of how it works with MCC. So any questions or anything I can answer for anyone this time?
More comments. I want to thank Ms. Scott for all her hard work, because dual credit is a job by itself. When you're doing it for all the kiddos at the high school. I also want to thank Ms. Mossy for the visioning piece of finding this avenue in our budget. And I want to challenge the board that, of course, we started this initiative this year because we never wanted finances to be a hindrance to kids having access to college credit. And as you know, MCC helps us with free and reduced. We have many kids in that spectrum right above it that can't afford it and therefore will take it. And so I want to continue to do this and let them even explore the math and science courses as well, just so our kids know that they have the opportunity to take all 4 courses at West High School and never have to worry about the cost of the tuition. So thank you all for your support, and we'll keep looking at these numbers and see if this helps even with enrollment. But we know financially it's absolutely helping our parents, especially in a difficult time right now with all that's going on with COVID. So thanks, Ms. Scott.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
This brings us to agenda item number 8, which is a report on the 2020-2021 Return to Learn and Play updates presented by Mr. Truitt, and also the local instruction be followed by grant academies. Mr. Truitt.
All right. Got some slides for tonight. Here. All right, here we go. I'm going to move my mask to the here a little bit. All right. For those in YouTube land, I hope you can see the slides okay on the screen. It looks like we're rocking. All right, I wanted to share some information that I'm going to have up on every month. I shared with you that we always have this standing topic, and I thought I'd leave each month where we stand on remote on campus. And this may be the last month I have this information, as Ms. Adams is going to share a new vision for our remote instruction plan when she comes up here in a moment. But first, I want to remind you of our numbers. In September at 95 remote, 1,176 were on campus. And if you shift to our most recent data on the next slide, I added in parentheses how it's different so you can see the numbers and what went up and what went down. And you can see currently remote we're at 85. With 33 at elementary, 16 at middle school, 36 at high school, and how that's changed in the last month. And then on campus, we're at 1,184. You can see we're at the 8, and how those numbers lay out for each campus. And then off to the side there on the right, you can see our totals. And currently, we're at 1,269 students. Next slide. Wanted to do some reminders about our scholastic calendar since we're on a unique year with the late start. Late starts probably the better word for it on September 8th. We have a big UIL grade check because we're required to do a 6-week no pass, no play check for all our extracurriculars, even though we're on a 9-week report card schedule, and that's this Friday. And as we think about our load on campus and getting everybody back, this is a big one for our kids and their ability to still take part in all of our activities. And then you can see up there the report card is actually October 30th, and it'll go on that following Thursday. Just want to remind you, we have the whole week, Thanksgiving to the 23rd through 27th. And we've already got to start thinking about this whole concept of the fall semester ending after Christmas on January 15th versus December 18th. And we've even had some folks forget that our semester transitions after the break. So we're making sure we've got the proper planning and thinking about exams and laying it all out. Make sure our kids are ready for that transition following the break. So just some reminders about the calendar. I do want to tell you that we had our first district advisory team meeting of the year last night, and we're already planning the 21-22 calendar, excuse me, to say it correctly. And we've got a lot of good ideas already brewing. We'll bring you a sample copy of a possible calendar at the November meeting. And as you'll agree, over the years, it's never too early to start that discussion. Even last year, we ended up with option 6 by the time we started school. Some things that we learned this year during COVID time that our teachers, in particular our staff, really liked about this year's calendar that may become new traditions. They really want us to consider still having at least a minimum of 10 red days in August. And they love this year how we had training in the morning and then they get time to work. And their classrooms are on their new learning in the afternoons. And so they really like for us to consider waiting and starting school in that last week of August. Maybe even Wednesday midweek start, where we can make that happen. They also shared that the fall break was much appreciated and much needed. As you'll recall through your feedback, particularly I remember it was even Ms. Parshaw that asked us to reconsider that, and the day was greatly appreciated by the staff. I know we had many at work trying to catch up, so it really became a work day for some, but it was a much needed time to get ready for the stretch run of this first grading period. We were asked to add the Monday work day, so if you're looking at this calendar, it would have been this past Monday on the 12th. So we'll try to work that in and have the holiday rest day for a 4-day weekend for the kids. We were also asked to consider it at the transition of the grading period, or at least at the 6-week grade check. This year it was at the 5-week, and we decided to leave it there because of homecoming was originally on the next day coming up, and then it moved back to the second, and so we just left it on there. There needs to be a grading period right there, in our opinion. The final thing that we talked about is the staff that is really grown fond of the 7:15 start time and the 3 o'clock dismissal time for elementary and okay. And then 3:15 for the secondary campuses. And they'd like us to still consider that for next year. And you can see that on the slide here in a minute. That's one of the pros of remote instruction and on-campus instruction plan. Next slide, Ms. Adams. Like last time, I asked the principals for some feedback on the first 5-week review of successes, and they're still saying after 5 weeks, the kids are loving being back at school and be with their friends and all the activities and things that we offer. The arrival and dismissal times and the plan both mentioned, like I just said, for next year's calendar. Both principals really talked a lot about the 7:15 a.m. tutorial time that when kids arrive, again, they're not going to a cafeteria, they're not going to a hallway, they're not sitting in the gym, they're going to classrooms where activities and breakfasts are happening. My vision is breakfast for all next, so we're going to talk to you about that at some point. The early release times of 3:15 were discussed, especially for the end of the day activities for staff that are getting done. But also we heard from some parents that our day was probably a little too long for some kids as far as you think about 7:15 and they came in at 3:30, 3:45, and some kids some good feedback on release times as well. And Ms. Adams even reminded us at the meeting last night that this new schedule is more in line with the districts in our area as well. The breakfast and lunch is going great. Mrs. Garrick and her cafeteria ladies have been rocking the breakfast as the kids enter the breakfast on the go. In the classroom, it's working amazingly well. The custodians are doing an incredible job with the trash pickup. And then the lunch in the classroom is a success as well. And Mr. Planger was commenting on how great it is to have the 4 lunches and how small it is and how they're able to spread out the kids and they're able to get through the lines and they're actually, he's noticed that they're eating even more than they had in the past versus socialization or sitting in the lines for longer than maybe was needed. So he's even noticed that. The face masks are going well. It's challenging. Staff and students are doing a good job. They wanted me to bring up again because we'll probably never go back to our old plan. The long-term substitute plan is amazing. And again, I sent you the names of our hires and they're all doing a fabulous job. And this may be a new thing for us every year. And then both principals wanted me to mention how our custodians are working. These folks are having clean, and disinfect and fog you that they're doing it, and we're just so grateful for those ladies and gentlemen that are on those teams at the school, and they don't get a lot of kudos, and we just want to make sure tonight you guys are doing how awesome the job you're doing. And then the cafeteria team as well. We've asked a lot of all those ladies and what they're doing to get the food to the rooms at the elementary, and get 4 lunches done with the early breakfast at middle school, high school, and we're doing all without bragging, and they just are so positive and trying to make sure our things work in this year. So those things were all shared by Mrs. Costa and Mrs. Suka had a few of those, and of course Mr. Cleaner, and good feedback. Now challenges, you notice some of the ones I just said were successes were also challenges. The high school staff mentioned short classes, even though it was a few minutes, they noticed that it was lost minutes, and therefore it was a short day because we had to shorten the classes, and they noticed that loss in instruction time. And so we looked at that again and run some data and see if it's really affecting our instruction units in the day, especially if we're pulling it from elementary school. For breakfast and lunch, Mrs. Garrett mentioned that before lunches is tough when the ladies run 7-hour work days. This is when they have to get there to prepare the breakfast, and be served early at 7:15. That last lunch that starts at 1, we're having a little bit extra duty paid because they're over the 7 hours. But we're willing to do it this year. She's asked for us to look at the times, and we go on 3 lunches for next year, so we'll see what we can do. The lack of face masks at pre-kindergarten and grade 2 keeps coming up, especially when we had a potential COVID case in grade 1, and we knew if we had it because of close proximity, and the only ones in the classroom are the staff members or kids whose parents have asked their kids to wear them since it's not mandatory. All the others would have had to have gone to administration. And so we know we're just a potential case away from that happening. And so Ms. Costa has asked us to even have a conversation about that for the new grading period if you want to continue to make it not a requirement. The lack of 8 days is something that's always in the back of our minds that we do if we shut down schools. We monitor them at 2.5, and so we're always talking about that, and we can make that happen in the spring if we have to make it more than 2.5 days. The fall semester ending before Christmas has come up because we have some kids trying to do TSTC and some other programs at the start before exam season. So we'll just do individualized exams and then our release and start the programs. But again, this is a challenge of not stopping the semester before Christmas. We need to try to do that again next year. It's just for this year's special plan. And this is a good transition here in a moment to this Adam's slide that we're going to share a few more things. Our remote instruction plan has been quite taxing on not just our families but our staff. We've had a chance now with 6 weeks almost in school to see how students are doing academically and attendance-wise. Even if they're around, they're not ready to check and see where they are based on the being away from school since last March. And Ms. Adams is going to share with you some new ideas and some things that all of Green 12 is looking at to get our kids back in school if remote instruction is important for them. Next slide. I want to remind you of who we are. Hopefully you've seen these posts. Oh, here it is. And our notifications, again, I've committed to doing school messengers and the emails and social media, and so this data table that goes out every Monday. And I update the numbers as Adams helps me with the students, staff totals, and then I work with Nurse Nicola on those columns on the right-hand side. So currently, you can see our isolated confirmed cases and our exposed quarantine cases. And every time we have one, obviously I send out and then post the information on our website, including notification letters. So I do hear back from staff and parents when I send these out, and they greatly appreciate how we're just not sending it to the campus or the grade level that's affected. I'm alerting our whole entire pre-K through 12 staff and kids for any case that we can see how we're doing with our return on learning planning. Especially the health and safety pieces. And so they really asked me to add a quarantine column, so I did. And that way they can see kids that they were in close contact with that third column is affecting the numbers as well. Right now, all those cases are students, by the way. All right, any questions before we get off my section for our transition?
You mentioned the district high school team. If you remind me how that's made up, is that teachers from each grade level?
There's actually a board policy that dictates who's on it from a percent standpoint of the total makeup. Same with the shack, that there's guidelines that are required. And so it has parents, it has community members, and business representatives. And then it has representatives from every. And then there's the different departments as well that have to go. And then it's one I chair, like shack, and Mrs. Fuller has to share it by law as a parent. But the dad is me. So just the time to get together and chat. Last night's meeting was more about being organized again, and since February. So making sure we have everything ready for the year, so it's staff only. And the next one in November, we're bringing in all the parents, and now we've got some things lined out since we had our regular meetings. But it was very productive and gave us a chance to check in on what everybody's doing. A lot of open and question time, people can share feedback. So it was good meeting. You bet. All right, Ms. Adams is going to share updates on co-construction.
Good evening. I wanted to start by telling you some good news, and that is that we received word yesterday from CEA that our asynchronous plan was approved for holiday became seated. That's and will continue to serve us well even as we talk about the ideas that we're coming up with for our quarantine and isolation students.
I gotta jump in on that
Yes.
because Ms. Adams is being too modest, because I know the other districts were told to fix things and they kept getting emails from TPA or got regular plans, and ours was approved on the first try. So congratulations.
Thanks, Sharon.
to Ms. Davidson. That's great.
Remote construction has been on our hearts and minds a lot lately, and I'll start by telling you some facts. As you saw in Mr. Truett's earlier slides, that we currently have 85 students that are remotely enrolled. Now that does include all isolated quarantine students with what we're calling modified remote enrollments. So they're a shorter term case. However, 85 is a pretty accurate number there. I wanted to talk to you about grades, and this is a different picture than I brought to you last month because we're further into the year. And I've had more time with these students, and what we're seeing is that 53% of our students across the district that are remotely in remote instruction are done with at least one course. As you know, in high school, we have 8 courses, so any of those 8, then in elementary, we're talking about 4 courses. So 30% of our elementary kids are failing reading, math, science, and social studies. And that's an unacceptable number. As well as middle school, 47, and alarmingly high school at 80%. We can talk about the reasons why we think this is happening, but for the most part, I would just say that my assessment of this is our parents are trying our hardest to be learning coaches, but we cannot recreate everything that happens in the school building at home. Therefore, I also want to share attendance. We have 44.7% of our remote students have 5 or more absences, which would trigger an absence attendance level for us to start the transit process. So those have gone out as well. Having said that, we're going to talk in the next part about some phase 1 and 2 ideas, but I wanted to mention that we feel like our students are not going to perform at the level they could possibly perform in this situation. And so it made us rethink what we're doing. And so we have a return to learn on campus plan. So phase 1 involves any of those 85 students that are not in isolation and quarantine, but are at home by choice. If they're failing a class, they must return to campus. They got an email, every remote family, in fact, got an email last Friday from me, Thursday actually, from me that said just that, and said, hey, if you don't want to wait that long, go ahead and call us now. We did have about 5 parents who took us up on that and are enrolling in on campus currently. Having said that, we also will be mailing letters this week to each family that is in this situation. I will tell you, out of those 85, only 17 will not get a letter. And all of those are elementary students. So, all are elementary that would still be able to be remote. Yes, ma'am. We, in the letter, will say that we want your students to return immediately because of these reasons, but we're going to expect them to return no later than October 21st. So this Friday afternoon will stay after the snapshot date that Mr. Tripp mentioned. That's a very important date for us. It will give us some solid grades and attendance, and we'll be able to send those letters Friday afternoon. We expect them to be in the mailboxes of the families on Monday or Tuesday. So we will tell them that letter to show up at school, we will be ready for you. Phase 2 is a little different. It is our return to campus plan for all students. So we're proposing that remote instruction as an option for all students to begin on October 30th into the first 9 weeks. However, we need to make exceptions for our medically fragile students. So anyone who has a medically fragile student will be afforded to continue to learn remotely with doctors on recommendation. Also, we will always offer remote instruction for our isolation and quarantine students, and those will be short-term remote instruction. We feel that we can accommodate that well and still not be learning at a large gap rate. The most important part of this will be communication. So we'll be sending that not only to remote instruction families, but to all families in West ISD so that they know why we made this decision and what we're going to move forward. We'll have an explanation of everything I'm telling you tonight and options for those who do not wish to go back on campus. We think that will be a small number. We've looked at each family, Mr. Smith and I, and Mr. Tripp, we all principals have kind of looked at those lists and thought about each situation. We feel like it's going to be a small number. However, we will include that information for the families who are just not comfortable coming back. Those things include homeschool options that we feel like we can recommend, such as programs like K-12 and things like that. Our hope is that we will not lose these students and that they'll go back on campus unless we're going to go back. As Mr. Tripp mentioned, this is something that the state is seeing happen in many areas. I've been using the phrase learning through both kids a lot. I feel like we're not serving our students the best way we can in this situation, and we're not serving our teachers the best way we can in this situation. I will never be able to thank our teachers enough for what they've done, nor our families. They've been doing more than humanly possible over this last 6 weeks. But we really feel like this is the best case moving forward for our district and our students. Questions or comments?
Nobody's for that.
Thank you.
This adds to,
Yes.
I know we got 17, but we actually have 3 of those 17 today that we got ordered from back in our so.
Awesome, so it'll be 14. I will say as well, Ms. Costa's crew has been doing some calling to families that we know their data in 17 is not necessarily aligned with what we normally see for that student, and asking those families to bring their students up to do some benchmarking and things like that. And those conversations have led to them being open to coming back on campus once we talk about what that could look like. So that's helped, and it sounds like we got 3 remains.
Great job, Mrs. Adams. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
For those out in YouTube land, the questions were, there's really support for the plan that Mrs. Adams just shared, Ms. Costa was sharing that 17 number is really 14. Okay.
That brings us to agenda item number 9, which is the report on the 2019-2020 School Health Advisory Council staff report.
a required presentation we have to do annually, and the last couple of years we've done it in October after our first SHAC meeting, which we held recently. To get organized again, since we haven't met since February, we need to do kind of some bookkeeping things and think through the goals we were working on then, are they still goals now? And so I've got a couple of slides I have to cover here at the beginning, and then we'll get into some goal work. Just as a reminder, a parent must serve as a SHAC chair, and again, that's Rose Kohler. Normally she'd be doing this presentation, but I thought I'd spare her with how we're running our meetings right now. Also, as a reminder, you've recommended more than 5, actually. We've had this discussion, and they're just finishing their 2-year terms, and so we'll have to do this again next year. Majority of members must be parents. Total transparency, right now it's 13 versus 15, and so I'm working on this with our principals to get 3 more parents, because it has to be a higher number than the employees on the committee. But we're almost there. And the SHAC must meet at least 4 times a year. We usually do 6. We actually got 4 in last year, so we met this goal before school stoppage, and that's accomplished. Also, this annual report, as you can see, is the next bullet point, which we're doing tonight. I'll post this PowerPoint to our website. And then the last one, of course, is what we're always working on is recommendations to you about our health education curriculum and all the different goals associated with the social and emotional well-being and healthy students at West ISD. Next slide. Here are the dates of last year's meetings that we have to post, and I've already changed them out on our website to the dates of this year. And you can see we've got all 4 meetings there in September, October, January, and February. And also on the website, all the agendas, minutes, and sign-in sheets are there as well. So we'll start adding this year's as we meet. The 1920 SHAC membership roster, remember our goals were to find a SHAC chair, and Rose Kohler has done a phenomenal job. Remember, we were missing a nonprofit representative, that's Tom Willis. Remember, number 3, that we need to continue to work on getting our parents and law enforcement rep to come to the meetings. When you look at our attendance sheet, it's heavy staff, light on parents, unless it's our officers who won't come quite religiously to the meetings. And so that's our goal for the year, is to make sure that not just the parents being on the list of membership, but actually being in attendance. And I think the Zooms will really help. We've learned already, like the parent academies and such, that we may just do these on Zoom from here on out because of how better it is for parents and their schedules to attend these meetings. The meeting time we did in the morning was also borrowed with our elementary school staff. They have to drive to where we met, and other staff when we started the meetings at 7:30, which we were trying to do for the parents to attend before they went to work. And that wasn't the case because our attendance did not increase. So we're liking the 6:30 Zooms right now. Our SHAC initiatives from 1920 that we accomplished. Of course, the random student drug testing through A&D. We've got one of those coming soon. The 2 good drug, alcohol, and violence prevention programs, grades 6 through 10. The choosing the best human sexuality in grades 8 and 9. We applied and received a state safety grant for $25,000, which is going to emergency radios. The health and safety fair, which many of you came to, that Mrs. Cole just did a fabulous job on. We added bullying prevention after some threats we received there after Christmas, and made sure that we put some things in place, especially some reporting pieces that are still in place here at the start of school, including, I noticed, every time I'm at the middle school, high school, Ms. Proctor, I sent her the QR codes that the kids can scan on their phones to report a bully, and you can't go 10 feet without seeing one. They're everywhere, which is fabulous that our kids can have those. And it's working. We received more bully reports here at the start of school than we had in the previous years as well. Ms. Adams is going to talk about some of that stuff. So it's going very well. And of course, I love you guys, because I spent a lot of time talking about Ms. Brockhead and I did the trainings on campuses and the updates in January. And Of course, the updates were done by the campus reps here in August. And now the 2021, oh wait, sorry, still some 1920. The Stop the Bleed training, this is my on hold slide, I wasn't sure what to call it. These were things that we were working on, and even decided not even to finish, like the Shattered Dreams. And we just didn't get these things done. The Stop the Bleed training was supposed to happen Monday after spring break. And as you know, we didn't come back to school then. And then Shattered Dreams, we decided to put on hold for a year, and then it didn't matter because we didn't have the event at the end of last school year. And then in the anti-vaping prevention curriculum, we were supposed to adopt one. Those last few meetings we were going to have in the spring, and of course didn't have the meetings. So that's still on the next slide for 2021. We feel we want to take the Stop the Bleed training, CPR, AED training to our students, so we added that. Also, this is back on the list because we accomplished the Stop the Bleed training in our back to school lit days in August. We do have some makeup training though to do, because we didn't get everybody. We want to adopt one of these two anti-vaping curriculums based on Catch My Breath. And we actually are learning that we want to do components from both. And the good news is they're free and they're Texas-based. The alignment of the required trainings and programs, this is the perfect time to be able to line out everything that's required of students, staff, and parents, and show who has to do it, when, and what grade level, and then do live links to what our curriculums are for all the different trainings. We'll put it on our website so that parents can see what's happening each year of their kids' slides in our school district. Our Parent Academy programs go great. If you go to the next slide, you can see we had our first one of the year on dyslexia awareness and depression and suicide awareness during COVID-19 times. And Mrs. Adams would probably agree with the statement that we had our best attendance and maybe more than combined all of last year in this one session.
Yes, sir.
Because it was Zoom and it was topics of interest. We did take during our last chat ideas for future ones. We have some good ones on there, including sex trafficking, which you know we've got a new training on here soon. And we're really excited about the topics, and I think there will be winners as well as far as attendance goes. Also, we've got the House Bill 11 trauma informed care and threat assessment policy work to continue. Dr. Pantel put together a great framework that just needs to be reviewed and then adopted. We've got our safety audit. Ms. Clark is here tonight to give you an update on that. We got our emergency operations planning, which is really the I Love You Guys piece. Our staff wellness program. We've got two things going now. We've got our dates for a 6-week Counselor 5K program for our staff now. And we have exercising happening 2 days a week for all interested staff. Doing different things on videos and such. Is there an actual curriculum for that? What's that curriculum called? That Ms. Laughlin's doing, do you remember, Ms. Russell? All right, sorry. I know it's going well and we've got people interested, and if we offered it, we learn they'll show up. I just wasn't sure what they were doing because obviously I haven't did yet and probably need to. And then the last one up there is the police department piece. You're going to hear me share about how we get that done in another agenda item tonight. So that's it for the annual reports. And again, I'll post this to our website. Do I have, are there any questions about our 1920 work or the 2021 proposed goals that I can answer? All right, as a reminder, your rep is Ms. Crawshaw. And then, took over for college. Yes, she did. And remember, Ms. Crawshaw is also, she's helping out a lot of things. So Dr. Crowder, though, remember, is the clergy rep as well. So we actually have two of you on chat. So keep that in mind. And then Ms. Crawshaw was going to say there was also a rep on Ms. Price's chin. And Dr. Sharps is your requirements. All right, let's roll.
Very good. Thank you so much. Our next agenda item is a report. It's the announcement of continuing education hours for the West ISD Board of Trustees, presented by myself.
Do what?
We're gonna,
Yeah.
Yeah. The current continuing education hours January 1st, 2019 through October 14th, 2020 are as follows. Dr. Larry Sparks, 12 hours. Mike Garrett, 12.75 hours. Lee Crawshaw, 68.5. Glenn Sephora, 8.5 hours. Dr. John Carter, 8.25 hours. Holly Willis, 12.75 hours. Jason Donner, 2 hours.
Just as a reminder, those, I was told, we have to do a cutoff to get my packets together and the emails together, and I've already been told by several of you, you've done some, these numbers go up. So we'll reflect that, and even this year, we have till January 31st, so everybody's okay. Remember the waiver, because of COVID, so we'll get it done, and thank you for everyone that did the text edits. It sounded like from our texting discussion, we all had a lot of really good sessions, and I love that discussion, y'all were throwing out all the things you were learning, so that's phenomenal.
If you haven't listened to the, phenomenal, it's not listening to also, like, often, it's not, but it is also as good as, or closer to it as the internet thing.
which one?
The very last one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, closing session, it's good also. Yeah.
All right, without any further ado, we will now proceed to agenda item number 11, which is the report is the annual dissemination of the framework for school board development. Excuse me, again, presented by myself. You have that framework for school development in your packet. Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. It's we can progress a lot.
There you go. Is that okay? Okay. Again, within your packet, you have the framework for school development packet, several pages and stuff. The framework for school board development outlines the vision, structure, accountability, efficacy, and unity needed to provide local educational programs and services that will promote excellence in student academic achievement. This framework was originally adopted by the State Board of Education in January 1996. It was revised by the State Board of Education in July 2020. You then read the preamble and the rest of it. There is a dissemination of that. All right. Agenda item number 12 is a report on the district safety and security plan within the district.
Thank you, Dr. Sparks. This is really a three-part presentation. We've been thinking about different topics and we'll give you updates on them. One of them is a new initiative for the Capital Safety Management Program. And this just going to share kind of a brief overview about. There's a handout at your place that looks like
This is the handout.
Let's everyone grab that one.
Last year, we asked our technology department to look into some security for our newly assigned student Gmails in grades 6 through 12. And we also looked at what other districts were using. Gavin was the favorite of other districts, and when we looked at it, it offered everything we were looking for. I gave you this flyer. On the front, it tells a lot about Gavin. And what it does is that anytime a student uses our email system through their email, it looks for keywords that might be something that would trigger them getting called for either bullying, any kind of safety issue. If you look at the back, that is a really straightforward look at what the system reviews. So not only is it looking at their email message, if they're using our system, it checks the whole message. It checks even the tagline, the subject line, attachments, images. It also will know if they're using a website and linking it to their email that's appropriate. It also knows we all use our Google Drive. If they use the drive attached to their student Gmail, it will check that as well. And so they're unable to share the appropriate things through that drive. In that drive, that list next down there tells you all the things that we'll look for in the drive. Even if you upload a file that's not a Google file, like a Microsoft file into your drive, it is able to assist your data as well. One very popular part of Google for our students' age is that Hangout. They cannot use that Hangout without it going through Gaggle if they're in the West ISD email. And also their calendar. So it's a pretty comprehensive view of the G Suite. And we've already, in the 3 weeks that we've had it in place, had 4 hits. And in those, sometimes there are things we found that are an assignment that might have a keyword such as bullying or something like that. But we have had an issue or 2 that we needed to address. And so we feel like it's working well. It tells us a lot about what's going on through our system, and it makes us able to be aware of what students are sharing. I will also mention that our students are not allowed to email outside of the West ISD email system. We have that locked out right now, so they can only email within it. So that allows us to really monitor everything. So, yeah.
The feature I really like, because I get the Gaggle alerts, also, if the student tries to send an inappropriate email, the person they're trying to send it to doesn't get it, it stops it. And so that's been able to stop things from getting sent that don't need to be sent. And so then we're able to investigate it. We know it didn't get in the hands of 27 kids by the time we can get over to the high school to deal with it, or whichever campus. So that's a really nice feature.
Yeah, that's really the most important, one of the most important parts. Thank you to say that. Yeah, it does not go through.
It's going well, and the stress, I love this. I wish we had it much longer than 3 weeks. If it's a document, we actually get the link and the attachment so we can read it. And so we can do very thorough investigations and really not overreact. Because we've gotten 2 where it was just our English papers and the topics they were typing on, writing on were hits. And once we saw it was just our English papers, we knew not how low. So we're able to use our gift discernment before we pounce. So it's going well. It's a great new feature.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Dr. Sparks, next, as Ms. Proctor, as we completed the physical part of our safety audit and report writing, the goal of sharing the results in November. So I asked Ms. Proctor to come share what's going on in the EOP safety audit world.
Hello, everyone. As you know, the audit happens every 3 years, and we report back to the Texas School Safety Center. We've been doing the on-site reviews. Joanna Rossack has been on my team. Brian Renninger has been on our audit team. Leanna Sexton from the elementary school has been on our team, and then, of course, myself. And then we have 2 future administrators that have been helping me as well. Some of our teachers are doing their master's programs right now. Ms. Katie Meyer, Ms. Deborah Humphries from the elementary school. So they've been helping us as well. We've been through the elementary, we've been through middle school, high school, we've gone through Trojan Stadium and our local sports complex. We've come to the admin building, we've been to maintenance and the warehouse. We've done DAP, we've looked over EOP documents and campus maps. So now, going through all that data, we've also done interviews with our front office staff at each campus. We've interviewed the administrators, the counselors, the nurses on the AED machines, the CPR trainings, and all of the things that they've done. Nurse Bella has got it together, for sure. Tomorrow I'm meeting with technology with 2 Pro about our technology and some of the questions that we had in there. Let's see. Yesterday we had one of our lockdown drills at our middle school, high school campus, and we noticed that some of our speakers were low. Mr. Pro happened to be on campus and he helped raise the volume and things like that. So we know now that that will be heard. Actually, the teachers asked me to ask me to turn it down a little bit in the hallways because of the blaring. I was like, oh, sorry. So we're going to get that taken care of. Mainly what we've seen is that for the elementary school to be so old, thank God we're in a new one, but we have some really good safety measures in place over there. I mean, our team at the elementary school, our custodian staff, our maintenance staff, there are a lot of things that have been put in place that have been very precautionary to things happening over there. So the main thing that we're seeing, even middle school and high school, I mean, it's amazing too, of course, because it's so new. But we do have things that we need to work on. There's like signage issues that I feel like we need to put in place. Our EOP, I had sent it in over the summer to the Texas School Safety Center. It was reviewed and we came back on 3 of the 8 areas that we needed to work on. So that's going to be part of our plan as well as us to make sure that the updates are, done on that. We have to add about the training and we have to add, of course, about the gas line and those kind of things to the plan. But it's things that we shouldn't be too hard to do. But I plan to present our findings and everything with our safety audit committee, the chat committee as well, and then to you guys next month before we submit it to Texas School Safety Center. But my most favorite thing that has come out of anything is these walkie-talkies that everyone's going to get. For all their being such close communication with each other, and the safety is going to be so much better for our students and our staff. What else? I think that was it so far.
I think we need more walkie-talkies.
Yeah, we do need more.
So we can talk at any time. Ms. Willis, come in, over.
Oh, you said board.
Board.
I thought you said more. I was like, yeah, let's hear some more.
Board.
So, does anyone have any questions for me? It's been very interesting to see some of the things, even some of the places that I didn't know existed, or I don't know. It's just been really neat to see all of the different facilities from a different perspective than the way I've viewed it in the past. So I enjoyed it. So look forward to telling you more next week.
We appreciate your attention, and thanks for taking on this extra project for us.
Thank you, Jay.
Not her job description, but she wanted to do it, so we appreciate it. Last one, I wanted to share an update on Paladine, the Paladin security update. I gave you a handout called the Security Legal Opinion and Options. Last month, I shared with you about a memo we received from the West Police Department dated March 2nd, 2018, titled Safety Options for School Districts and Charters. And I shared with you that I was going to talk to our law firm in Los Gallegos about some options to help ensure our security officers are continuing to be armed while on campus. And you can see there that I just literally cut and pasted a portion of what Mrs. Joey Moore sent back to us. For those in YouTube land, she is our district attorney. And works with us on these types of policy and measures to help ensure our district is safe. And you can see that she really gives 2 different ideas in that area of that paragraph. You can see that obviously her first recommendation is District of Innovation roadmap. Look at that statute, Texas Education Code 37.081A, where we would ask for exemption from it, which would immediately allow the security officers to continue with our previous plan. As you know, the challenge there, though, is it takes a full month until that process is complete. Remember, you have to have a district advisory team approve it, a district of innovation team approve it, and then you have a public hearing, and then it sits for 30 days, and then the board has to approve it, and so it's timeline sensitive. And so we're working on that one right now, and you'll see why as I tell you about my ideas on page 2. The second piece is you can see there in that second paragraph that Mrs. Moore also recommended that we could go the option of having our 2 security officers go through the guardian program, which would allow them to be armed as well. So really there are 2 options there. The challenge with that second one is they're not our employees. And so paying and having to go through the program would be an obstacle we have to overcome with the whole challenge if we want to go that route. So moving forward, you can see that I have 4 things that I'd like you to consider, and then on page 2, I have my recommendation. With what occurred at West Elementary School a few weeks ago, when you hear Ms. Crockett talk about the need for radios, when we talk about our Paladin partnership, who've been wonderful for us since the explosion, and whatever medium mode we've asked of them and they've responded. We appreciate the efforts right now of our 2 officers, but at the end of the day, they're not our officers. And we see that each year struggle with adapting our different employees through this company to meet the training and safety specifications that we want. And obviously the main one being the carrying of a firearm. As you know, we've had to address this 3 different times. And frankly, we can do better. And so you can see there at the bottom of the page that we really have 4 things that we can continue to do. School resource officer partnership with USPD, the Paladin security piece where we implemented the DOI or Guardian plan. Then you can see we've got the Guardian program. It's also called school safety training. So just wanted to make sure you knew what I was talking about when I use those names. They're interchangeable. About looking at West ISD personnel. Remember, we had volunteers from last year before the COVID situation that we were looking at sending to training. So we even have names on each campus. And I added in there a section that explains again the training requirements of the 16 hours, even some live fire qualifications and some simulation trainings and things. And then just as a reminder, make sure you see that first sentence that the Guardian program's intent is just to provide armed self-defense options prior to the arrival of local law enforcement. So I just want to keep echoing that it's a layer. It's not necessarily a substitute for the next option, which is to consider creating a West ISD Police Department. So if you go to page 2, you can see my recommendations. After much thought, talking with folks in our community and consulting with a superintendent friend that has gone through this, as you can see in that next section. There's some things that we need to do as a bridge. And so you can see that we need to continue to work with the West Police Department through our school resource officer program. You can see also that we need to complete the DOI process with Paladin security officers to carry firearms. I think we need to add the layer, even before I get to the 4th bullet point, that we look at the personnel that were interested in school safety training, more layers. And then the last one is the big one. I don't think we wait, as we've said previously, until the new elementary school opens. I think we go ahead and start the process now, which I lay out there in those last bullet points, to add a police force for West ISD. And remember, I've always said that it's a minimum of 2 officers. We are not going to do a plan with 1 officer driving the car between our schools. We want 1 for West Elementary, and we want 1 for West Middle School, High School with vehicles. And so that's what I wanted to share with you tonight, where I think we need to go. You can see the process. It is many steps, but if we don't start it now, we will be in a hole again with what we're working on those first 3 bullet points. The goal is, of course, to have this in place at the latest for the start of school in August 21. But from what I've heard and discussed, if we get going on this now, there's no reason why we can't post and even make the transition in the spring at some point. And I even had Ms. Moss look at our MOU with Paladin, and surprisingly, it was never signed. Which is good news, and so we have some leeway. Just with the COVID situation, it slipped through cracks, but my signature is not on it, and so we can now negotiate on getting out of that plan at some point based on our completion of the police department work. So that's good news that for once something we didn't get done is helping us. So those bullet points, you can see that we have a big role in this, and I have copies of all these documents because Ricky Stevens has been wonderful from Keene. You guys know he was in our previous districts when we played sports before this switch. He's shared everything. He's been great on the phone. He's willing to come in and present. He has the pieces in place, being another 3A that looks exactly like what we wanted to do. And you can see there's resolution work. We need to do an appointment of a leader of the force that we need to identify. There's some more policy work and CKE, legal and local. You can see there's some policy and procedure manual work, and he's been so gracious. He gave us his entire manual. It's like 160 plus pages where we can start with what he's got done, which will save a ton of time. And of course, we need to make it our own. You can see there's the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement piece there, including the letter that we have to have all of those answers for that we've got to begin working on immediately, especially with this MOSIC on the budget piece. You can see that agency orientation number has to be filed for, and then an MOU with West PD. And then there's always other pieces that we have to work, the DA, county attorney, the sheriff's department, of course, our local police, municipal court, and the JP courts. And really, the piece we've got to figure out is the budget. I want to make sure y'all know that the budget, though, is not a hindrance. I found through some work with Ms. Mossick that we're paying right now over $6,000 a month counted. And so 2/3 of the budget to add these 2 officers is already in place, so we only have to find that 1/3. And Joanne's already identified some things with that. Vehicles and things, you're going to hear tonight about some an auction piece for vehicles that we're looking at getting rid of, and it's money we can use towards this project in addition to the maintenance vehicle that's up for purchase for our recycle plant. And so we've got ideas for that. The key is we got to find the right people. And that's what we'll begin on now. There's no reason why we can't post now, as we're working through these bullet points and find the officers he or she that best fit the needs of Mrs. Costa and Mr. Klander, and we have to identify one of them to be the chief, who will report to me, and I think this is something that's a must. So questions, what can I answer?
There is a good, from the training, about this exactly, and a way to look at, school resource officers and, how they, it really was like some points that they made was well worth listening to that presentation.
Wonderful.
And what they do for the students as opposed to just being out there looking for bad stuff. But true support service officers. And a major point was every school officer can be a general PD officer, but not every general PD officer can be a school officer.
It's going to take some special function, right?
And a personality, and yeah, it's well worth it watching at the time.
This is a biggie, some questions, and I want to clarify that our plan would be 2 layers. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt this. Oh, was there a question? I'm sorry, I started talking again. I don't know what to talk. It would be 2 layers. It would be an officer for both campuses, and then we would also still do the guardian program. Here's why. If an officer has to take a child to court or to the police station or the jail, our campus then would be not protected. And so you still want to have that layer of the guardian plan in place with folks that are armed and have gone through training and have access to a weapon in an emergency situation. So you want both, and so we would do both. So we maybe got to start thinking about who those are and getting them through the training and making sure we have both pieces aligned when we make the transition from Howard to this police department and guardian ideally. So I just want to make sure you all understood that there's 2 layers to this and I'm looking to be. It's not a loading item tonight, it's a report, but I know we talked about this. Again, what happened with Mrs. Costa's campus, our staff and the SPD did a marvelous job. Our parents did in the Lions. What concerned me greatly is if we would have had an emergency situation, Nathan would have had to throw his flashlight at the guy. And I know that sounds horrible to word it that way, but that's the reality right now because of the memo. And if we're going to say safety is our #1 priority, it's got to be our #1 priority. And I have no reason to sit here before you today and say why we should wait until the new campus opens when we can do it now. Let's go for it and quit talking about it. And so I'm ready to roll. I've got the support of the team here tonight to make this happen. I know I've got your support as well.
So when you look at motion or something, we would still call on the West City for backup and stuff, right?
Yes.
So they still work together.
Yes. That's where that MOU is so important, because we would have another police force within their jurisdiction, just like we had them within the sheriff's department. So layers, yes, absolutely. Oh, yes, Mrs. Willis for YouTube Land was asking about, even if we have our own police force, would they work also with West PD and emergency situations? The answer is absolutely yes. The only difference is right now we have a school resource officer who would go back to being part of their force, and we have our own. So partnership, absolutely, and I know Chief Bartman's been wanting us to do this since I got here, so let's roll. We'll come down. Wi-Fi. Does anybody even know that show? Okay. Ollie, do you know that show? I knew it! I'm surprised Ms. Costa does. All right, good.
Are there any more questions for Mr. Hood concerning the police force? If not, we will take and continue agenda item number 13 to report on the new West Elementary School update. By Mr. Hood.
All right, there's two documents, and I gave you a memo that highlights my phone meeting, my phone conference with George DeJohn just this morning, so this is hot off the press. In your packets is the geotechnical investigation report from Lincoln and Foster for the 30 acres, and then also the survey of the 30 acres. It's the fold-out document that looks like this. And I know it's hard to read because of how we had to copy it, but I want to just give you both those documents as information items. If you have specific questions about those two documents, let me know, and I'll get with Mr. DeJohn to get those answered. Really, it's an information item for tonight. If you look at the next 4 bullet points, though, you can see that Mr. Quicksall with Quick Survey Inc. is started today on the Montouche land. And when I say Montouche land, that's differentiating between our land and the remaining land at the Montouche school level. Our sewer, obviously, when it leaves our property, is going into the Montouche Crest land, and then we'll cut over along the ditch at 2114 to go all the way to Palladium Drive, and then under 2114 going east towards the sewer plant. And so that creates easements and work that's not our land, which requires a lot of work. And so he's working on that, so we can report back to Montouche of where it has to go through their property. And then you can see, you heard from Mr. Kaluja. I'm so grateful that he reached out to us to remind us that he's the leaser for doing the plantings and the farming of that land. So I let him know our timeline, so he's not going to obviously plant on our 30 acres. But his big question is where the easement's going on the remaining land he farms so that it didn't get ripped up and tore up as we do our sewer piece. So I told him I'd get back in a minute. I did that document. The next bullet point, Mr. DeJohn is working on the structural foundation based on the geotech report. And you saw on that one page that I previously shared with you that the middle school, high schools on the limestone, and then to the right, on the wrong black dirt, black soil. So we'll take a little different foundation in middle school, high school, but still, as you read in the geotech, great soil and great piece of property for this project. You can see he's working on 100% design construction documents going to bid on Tuesday the 10th, which is crucial because we then will approve them in December so that they can get going for the holidays. Our goal is we must get that done before the Christmas break because that ensures we'll get in school even sooner than summertime. And you're probably, many of you asked me this in emails and other conversations. Jackson Construction is built in a 3-month cushion that we're hoping not to use, and in order for us not to use it, we've got to get this in for Christmas. So it's the difference between February, March, and June, for example. So the sooner, obviously, the better, especially if you're the punch list items. Our next big meeting is the owner first contractor installation list, what we're doing versus what Clayco is doing. That meeting is on Monday afternoon. Just found that out today, so we need to get all of our folks there, like Mrs. Costa, Mr. Pro, Mrs. Adams, and Mrs. Cora, and Ms. Mossick, so that we can all have a conversation based on what's ours and what's theirs. You can see he's working on the driveways and the pavings, big email discussions happened in the last 24 hours on these motorized and manual gates. And these ball bearings, which I'm not a fan of. These are too hard to get out and move, especially if there's an emergency and such. And so we're having discussions about other options. And of course, every time we get together, we are vying to meet our target date of August 22. Obviously, we want it as far out again as possible, and that's in our December dates. So it's exciting times. Costa is a big thing, and I've got her on the agenda as well. We're having big discussions about groundbreaking because we still want to get it done at the latest in early November, just because of weather and things that will happen as bulldozers and things show up in December, and we want it to be still an avenue to have everybody get out there before the weather turns. And so we're doing everything we can to gather ideas so we can get the invitations and plan ready. So I wanted Mrs. Costa just to share what the staff has been talking with her about. And again, our goal is to get the kids out there the best we can during COVID times and make it a community celebration. So come on up, Mrs. Costa.
This is the exciting part, right? So, okay, so like Mr. Truitt said, we want to do it as soon as we can. We want to have the groundbreaking before bulldozers get there and the weather gets gross in December, January. So we've been discussing what we can do while still staying safe, because we can't have 500 or 1,000 people out there at one time right now. We have a reading fest planned for November 10th. And that reading fest is having a new revamped. Last year it was on our campus, and trick or treating, passed out candy, and obviously handling that way this year. So we are going to have on November 6th on Friday, every grade level is going to send home with students a paper that's a scavenger hunt of 10 different things that the student needs to find. On that scavenger hunt, one of those things is going to be to go to the new site. And for the elementary campus, we're going to give specific directions that they need to park at Trenton Field. And Mr. Records already told us that we can mark off exactly where they need to go off. And we're going to have a huge sign that says site of the new West Elementary campus. And so that will be one of the places they go. That will give them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to get that done so that everybody doesn't have to know large group at one time. They're going to be able to take a photo with their family on that property. And then on November 10th, it's our reading fest night. The students are going to grab all their pictures from the scavenger that they've done. They're going to go to their teacher that's located somewhere in town on another location, and they're going to turn those photos in or submit them on Seesaw that they all used this year, and they're going to get a prize. So we're going to use those photos that everybody with their families on their property and put it together in sort of collage and celebrate that. And before that meeting starts at 5:30, our campus is going to be out there, and we're going to take a staff photo in front of the sign with our staff shirts on. One thing that we've brainstormed is seeds and planting seeds or scattering seeds. I have the farmer mind that, okay, we're going to throw the seeds out and then we're going to move the juicers. So girls, I know where I've been promised that we have a plan, and then they can have a place staked out to the side, it's the area for the scattering of wildflower seeds. If we can get that together in time, we'll be able to stake those packets, the seed packets, also to the students' scavenger hunt, so students can do that if they want. They can take a photo of that as well. And then we would take our personal scavenger hunt things, that would be another piece of it. We want to, of course, have an official groundbreaking moment. We just haven't been able to figure that out quite yet. Staff, students, school board, and how we do that safely. So.
It's actually on the phone conference for Monday. This Clayton will help us with that part of the official when you guys are showing up there. folks who want to invite. So to be continued, but I love the ideas of how we get the kids out there. So this is really good there.
And Mr. Renner said, you can have a sign ready, you can have it staked out, you can have a designated area with the gathering seeds, and just making sure that kids are safe. We don't want anyone parking on the road to have a take photo of my Trojan and the Trojan. And get all of that together.
Thank you. Any questions or ideas you want to share?
Right?
Why don't you stay there just for one more minute? I skipped over, I know you've seen these photos, but not all on one page. I kind of made a handout that you can see each of the sketches in color. I know it's not perfect color, on our copier, but just a reminder of some of the areas and things we're working on in the building, the front of the school, the site plan, interior hallway, cafeteria, library, the gym, and of course we have pictures of every classroom on campus as well. So just wanted you to still see what we're working towards. Of course, this isn't final. We can change interior stuff anytime. Just the footprint of the building, the walls, doors, where all those things are set. But colors and tile and all that still being reviewed and up for discussion. I think the only thing that's changed since last time we met is because of work with George on the office layout, because of the way the assistant principal's offices flowed, and that's really the only change that I can think of.
Right, now that we have 2 assistant principals, they weren't really laid out for it to originally be that, and because of that, you have one way at the front by the front office with a closet and a wall of windows, and then the other kind of in a corner with ISS and access to the hallway, so we wanted to make it more open, so that they could both have storage space and both have access to students.
It's also got more red and less gray.
Yes. It was a little grayish, and Playco's been great, they'll do anything, and we just, originally we asked them to pull back a little on the color because it was so crayon box. And so whenever we rearranged that a little bit, it turned into a lot of gray, so we asked to add more red, and then I think it was Ms. Crawshaw that brought up the idea of black. So we added some black accent, and adding that on just the staircase and the bulkhead on the back side of the entryway, it really kind of made everything pop. So we had fun with that process. We changed quite a bit in the cafeteria to adding more color, red, black, and green.
It does when we show pictures, and they're going to be in the West News this week, by the way. We did a story with Larry, How's and I interviewed on Monday. Oh, I've already got copies of it. Oh, I can see our school pictures on the front page, so hopefully you guys can be correct, because he said it was like created first or something. So let's go.
It looks great.
Yeah. Are there any other pictures just behind? Or is that
Kind of that entryway that they call.
Is it in color or what?
Colors front and back, black and white.
I like it. That looks good. Look at us.
And I know this is a complete sidebar, but when we talked about exciting things and things to celebrate this year, I've got to tell y'all that we were worried about our kids coming back. They haven't been here for 6 months, and we didn't know how they would feel, if they would be anxious, nervous, down, not wanting to come back to school. And we've noticed that student morale is actually higher this year, and we've really attributed a lot of that to relationships we've been able to build, because that's that routine time. They're not going to a holding tank and sitting there with having their kids. They're talking to their teacher while they eat breakfast and they're catching up on work. And instead of being in a cafeteria with 200 or 300 with a monitor trying to man everyone, they're in a classroom with one person with that chiming in. And we also have the 2 counselors this year who've been able to do a lot of proactive behavior intervention with that. So we just appreciate y'all adjusting the calendar, working with us on that, because it's made a huge impact on our students and our start this year.
Excellent, thank you. That brings us to agenda item number 14. 14, which is an action item, is consideration of possible action by the board to approve the 2020-2021 Texas A&M Agri-Life Extension Service Adjunct Faculty Agreement and Resolution. Ms. Amanda is going to present that for us.
Yes, sir, this is our yearly agreement to allow an adjunct for our students to be able to participate in the 4-H program. So this is our yearly agreement of that contract, or agreement.
Matter of have anybody have any questions? All right, this is an action item. Floor is open for a motion to address action item, agenda item 14 as presented. Jason's made the motion. Kenny is seconded. All those in favor, please show of hands. 7-0. Thank you. Agenda item number 15. 15 is an action item. It's consideration of possible action by the board to approve the bid to clear and clean up 4 wooded acres. The section of Horizon Fitness Land Work is just north of West High School and Middle School on Jerry Houses Drive. Mr. Truitt is going to present that and we have for you a briefing of that.
You do. I appreciate Mr. Linder and Ms. Mossick helping me with this process, including the budget piece. I want to make sure you know exactly what you're approving tonight. Obviously, we have 3 bids, and really there's 4, but there's one in particular I want to recommend. This is only for the 4 acres that's wooded. And I even sent you pictures where many of you commented back on them because this is really a cleanup in a clearing or a clear up. We're going to use both words. We're not talking about the plow lands. We're talking about where the trees are right behind the outfield fences, the baseball, softball fields. You saw the debris, you saw the junk, you saw the trash, you saw the overgrown bushes and weeds and plants. You know, that's now our property. We're liable if anyone goes in there and gets hurt. So we need to clean it up. It's just part of owning property that you take care of this and then you maintain it. And so we're going to pull out everything we can. We're going to tag trees we want to save. Most of it's junk. And we have one bid in particular that's willing to do exactly what we asked. And that's the Yannick and Whitten construction bid, the first one for $32,500. So not only is it the lowest, but they're willing to do it all at a price where we can get the debris taken care of at a cost where we can save money. We have it in our summer project account that we're going to use for this. And you know what we have to save in there for other things this year because of a meeting we had today. But I want to make sure you understand why this bid's cheaper. And I want to make sure you're okay with it before you accept my recommendation, possibly a vote. The difference is they're not hauling off what they're going to pull out as far as the debris of the bushes and trees. They will haul off trash, but they're going to do a burn pile or many burn piles, many meaning M-A-N-Y or M-I-N. They will stay on site, they'll take care of it, they'll have someone observe, they're going to use the plow fields for that. They'll be away from Rise Up Fitness in the road. And then they'll go through and clean up what's left of the burn piles. And so they're accomplishing the same things as the other bids, but at a price that fits our budget. And so, again, the 4 acres, they'll do the trees and wooden structures and all the trash and debris, and they'll haul everything off, including the ash remains, and they'll take responsibility, as you see in their disclaimer, and have someone on site for the process until the ashes and debris is hauled off. So it's my recommendation we accept the Yannick and Whitten out of Hillsborough. We have our 3 bids, and I recommend this first one at $32,500. Questions?
This includes there's over 3 directors, only as high as
There is, they're going to take it all. And some of you had asked to walk it. Obviously, we won't have to start this until we can get you a chance to get out there as soon as the schedule. We're open to still look at it and walk it. And help us out with which trees to save. There's some really nice oaks in there, and then there's some that you will agree with me to jump. So if you want to walk in and help me tag trees, I'd love to have your help with that. We can do that anytime.
All right,
I will add, sorry, I will add that through this discussion, when some of you saw this on the agenda, and we're asking questions, and I've seen you talk to you here last week. This is what I was trying to call you, Ms. Brush, so you know which bid I was going with. I was able to talk to all of you about pieces of this, so I know it's short notice, so I want to make sure you get a heads up. In talking with Ms. Lewis today, we had a conversation about the dirt pile. And so I talked with Mr. Renninger, the city, who's held the, I get my engineers mixed up, so I'm gonna say the one that we've been asked about,
Making sure that's.
the dirt pile by Trojan, by the Trudeau. The city is still using it to do filler, like out here on Shook. There's a big trench now between the curb and our property, and they're gonna use that dirt to fill it in. So we did talk with them about their timeline, so they're gonna still use our dirt pile for that. And the minute that's all done, and they're almost done with that part of the project, and I know you're gonna go, we've heard that before, but the minute they're finished, or we can even leave a portion of it, our guys are gonna have the equipment to start moving it to the, the new campus site behind the visitor stand. So we'll get it taken care of here while we're also doing the lane clearing. So we'll run simultaneously with the projects done.
Are there any more questions? This is an action item and requires a vote, so the floor is open for a motion to address agenda item number 15 as presented. 3-1 vote. Motion's been made by Ms. Croshaw, is there a second? Mike Garrett, second, all those in favor, name showing, hands please, thank you very much. All right. It's now 8:07, at this time we will adjourn to close executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Chapter 55171, 551.129, and 551.074.